we're there. I think we're there.
Evening.
Evening, or it's Sunday. It's the share. Let me sort my little banners out. What's going on?
I don't know. I feel
There
like
we go.
I feel like I should have brushed my hair and made a bit of an effort. No,
Well, why didn't you?
because I was emptying the dishwasher.
Oh. We're going to do this now, are we? This is the appropriate time.
People like it when we bicker.
It's ridiculous. But anyway, yeah. So it's Sunday again. It's the share. We're here. We're weird.
Get used to
I swear
it.
there's a delay on that. There's not normally a delay on that screen. It's weird. I don't know why. See what I mean?
Yeah, a little bit.
Doesn't normally show up on there. But anyway, shall I do the introduction this week?
I think you should.
I kind of put you on the spot last week by doing
You
it.
did a little bit.
Okay. We are the Wiccan Warriors, Penny and Alistair, and we are holistic coaches and practitioners. I keep trying to mix up the words every week, just sort of change it. Because people get hung up on words, I think.
Practitioners, right?
Yeah, well, there we go then. We're holistic practitioners. But every Sunday we get together and we like to talk about stuff that's a little bit weird or spooky or paranormal.
Or spiritual or mystical.
Yeah.
Ethereal.
All of those sorts of bits.
Yeah.
And we urge you to join in. Put in a comment. Put a little love heart in there, which we will do actually. If we get a bit of time later, if you put a love heart in the comments, we'll do you a little free tarot reading if you're there. But the last time we tried this, we died on our arse.
Let's not do that then. Let's just talk for the people that watch us later.
Well, Marian's already said, so Marian was already kind of in the minutes. As an apology, she messaged and said she's at a show. She's watching some finals.
Okay.
So competition finals. So Marian's not here this evening.
Okay.
I don't know about anybody else.
I don't know. I don't know.
So yeah, not sure. So if you are there, say hi.
Yeah.
If not, we're going to ramble for a little bit. What are we going to ramble about tonight? Come on, you tell people what the topic is. I did the other bits.
I thought this evening we could talk about preparing yourself.
Preparedness.
Preparedness. Yeah. To go and have a treatment or a reading or anything like that, because sometimes people are interested but they don't know what to expect, and when that happens, when you don't know what to expect, you don't get as much enjoyment out of something as you would if you'd done a little bit of homework before. So, for example, I did some tarot readings on Friday
The love
night.
hearts are there. Thanks, guys. And some thumbs up.
Thanks.
Welcome.
I did some tarot readings. Hi, Nick. On Friday evening.
Nick stopped by. Evening, Nick.
Excellent. Can I finish my sentence?
No, I'm just going to flash Nick up on the screen. Just briefly like that.
Yeah, so I did some tarot readings on Friday evening for some lovely ladies. And
I didn't go. I bowed out. I chickened out of that one.
One was quite nervous, but kind of knew the process. The other two had no idea. They've heard of tarot readings. They know other people that have had tarot readings, but they didn't necessarily know the process.
I'm not disrupting her again.
So, oh my God! Hi, Anna Banana. Right, so, yeah, it was really good fun. Quite a lot of the time was spent explaining what I was going to be doing and leading them into the process, which they were quite nervous about. And I have to say, the cards were super accurate. I had surprised faces, shocked faces, and somebody very emotional, and then somebody super emotional, who actually ran out of the room upset, crying, which was a little bit disconcerting, but I kind of understood, because sometimes the messages aren't always what you expect them to be. And even though I'll do it sensitively, I will tell you whatever is coming through. So sometimes it can be quite upsetting, but I'll do it gently. And it actually wasn't the reading that was what upset the particular lady. It was at the end. I gave them opportunities to spend time with the cards and to pose their own questions. Open questions, yes, no. Only ask what you're willing to know the answer of. It was an unexpected response. And the lovely lady was quite overwhelmed. She was okay in the end, but she was quite surprised. So it's about being prepared. So they hadn't looked into it. They didn't know the process. They didn't know what to expect. Next time.
So just sorry to cut in, but is that then on us? That when we've got a client that says, "Oh, I'd like this," that we send them that so they can be prepared for it?
What do you mean, send them it beforehand?
Yeah, like this is how to mentally prepare yourself for a tarot reading.
No, it's not about mentally in that case. It's about knowing the process. This is what we're going to do. This is what can happen. You sit, I'm not looking for you to give me details. Watch online. There's so many resources online that are available now that show people having readings and all treatments that in theory there's no reason not to be prepared. It's only when a practitioner does something a bit different, then it definitely is on the practitioner to explain that before they do something.
Yeah, I've always been a little bit, whenever I've done readings and you get that, oh, I didn't expect you to do that. I sort of think, if you'd have gone into the doctor's waiting room and they're doing an x-ray and then they go, oh, look, there's something on the x-ray. You don't go, oh, I didn't expect you to find that. It's like, you came here for a reading. You engaged with something that, to me, is very serious. Why are you so shocked that I've given you a validating answer? And it's because we're always looking for this validation from readers and mediums, I think.
I think it's probably more that they don't expect accuracy.
Yeah. And I think that's a little bit...
The readings that I did on Friday were super accurate. And they were quite shocked by that. So I think sometimes we're led down a path from curiosity and let's try, how real is it? To, oh my God, that's quite shocking how real it is, how accurate.
Just how much information you can get off somebody just by them holding some cards.
Yeah.
Imagine how easy it is just standing next to somebody in Tesco's.
Stop being creepy. Stop being creepy. that's proper weird.
I just wanted a nice little cut screen for my for YouTube.
Yeah, because you don't know how many people out there are sensitive and have an ability to be able to read other people, for a start. So that was tarot readings.
Yep.
Then there's things like Reiki.
Sorry, before we move on, I need one other thing on the tarot.
Yeah.
Different tarot readers will read different cards, which means they'll have a different imagery set sort of look about them. So it's worth knowing who's going to read your tarot as to what kind of reading you're going to get. And
true intuitive readers might have exactly the... Of course, we should mention all supermarkets. Thank you for that reminder, Nick. Not just Tesco's, Sainsbury's, Waitrose, Morrison's, all the other.
No, I didn't.
Asda. We're not looking for sponsorship, but let's be fair.
Tesco's is the closest. So if you want to sponsor us, Tesco's, that'd be spot on. Because every little helps.
Okay. Oh my God. I've forgotten what I was talking about now.
Tarot cards, different kinds of cards.
Okay, so it could be you could have 5 or 6 readers who have exactly the same deck of cards, but interpret them differently. particularly if it is done from intuitive reading and not from a book, if that makes sense. That face thing, is it the one that's
The one right at the very top.
there above my head? Oh, I can't get there. So everything's back to front. That one, I like it. It's my favourite. It's a doll's head. So yeah, we all read our cards differently, but interestingly, what we've done before is we've done dual reading, so we get different cards, but actually what comes through is very
Can be the same topic.
similar. Yeah, the information, I can't think of the word, complements
Collaborate.
yeah.
I don't know.
Oh,
Anybody out there with a
I don't know.
thesaurus? Oh, here we go. Adrian's got a question. So, which oracle cards do you use? Now, I don't use oracle cards, so I'm going to have to pass that one over to you. Adie's an old.
Cards.
I thought you did. I thought you had angel cards.
I do, but I don't really read from them. I read from a traditional deck.
Oh.
But I do have. Where are the other ones? They're over there. So I have angel bouquet cards, but I don't always use them. So every now and again, at the end of
Unicorn cards?
no,
Oh, no.
no. We've got so many sets.
We have. I've tried different ones and I can't get on with them. So I've just had the same set for the last 20 years. Not that I'm worried about change or
Just
anything.
going to vanish off screen.
So yeah, I use my Alistair Crowley cards because I like the imagery on them and they don't always read the same, even if it's the same card. So
I don't know where mine have gone. I was looking for my Celtic cards.
oh, no, there's some on top of there. What are they ones?
No, there are the angel ones.
Yeah, so there's different kinds of cards.
So there is an Archangel Oracle deck, but I didn't connect with these. And if I don't connect with them, then I don't use them.
That's a good question.
And then I have some
I like a good question, Tom. We will come to that.
super vague, and these work mainly from intuitive reading, which are really nice, bit cumbersome to hold, but again, didn't connect with them. I've got some Celtic wisdom cards that I like a lot, but they've been a harder connection to get to. So, and again, it's worth knowing if you've got a preference of a kind of deck, it might draw you away from a particular tarot reader if you don't like what you see. It always microphone's in completely the wrong place. It always intrigues me when people go, "Oh, I don't want the death card." Why? That's a good card.
That's all right card, that one.
It means change.
So can we put...
But it's a perception. It's I've watched something in a TV program or a movie, and this is what I expect to happen, which is the importance of doing research, trying different, looking in different places. And then if you're going to have a reading with somebody and you really want the detail of what they do, ask. Have a conversation with them. Nobody minds having that conversation.
No, not at all. Can we go to Tom's question?
Okay.
I've had a good question from Tom. You joked about it a little, but I'm intrigued. Is it possible to read strangers when you're stood next to them? Or does it have to be in a certain situation or setting? I'll let you go first.
In my case, then it doesn't have to be in a particular location. I don't necessarily have to sit facing them. I have picked things up just being in the same room as somebody or in a lift. That's the weirdest. If I get images or information and I'm not even touching the person, they've just walked into the lift, that's quite disconcerting because I'm always concerned that I'm going to get a message to pass on and it's like, I'm sorry, I have no idea who you are, but can I just give you this information? Some people can be quite upset by that.
Yeah, and
so
quite aggressive and all.
What it is, yeah. So yeah, you can. I believe I certainly have read strangers.
Yeah, I was going to say, from my perspective, I was more intrigued by the energy manipulation of it with strangers. So the classic, you're sitting in the car and you're looking at the passengers on the bus, stare at one of them and see if they turn around, see if they turn around to look at you. Yeah. And I would do the same thing walking down the street. I'd sort of, the person in front of me, just stare at a pinpoint on the back of their head. And if they turn around and look, just smile. You don't have to look creepy and weird about it.
No.
But it's to see whether or not other people could pick up on me interfering potentially with their little energy bubble, because I'm nowhere near them.
And quite a lot of it is intuition and instinct. You can walk into a room, a full room, and connect with people at the far side of the room, and you know who you're drawn to for a conversation and who to avoid.
But I think that as well, it also links to, which we all do, and I think it's pretty primal, that gut instinct.
Yes.
If you think when you meet somebody, they look a bit of, oh, is that what you just said?
That is what I just said.
Oh, I completely concur.
Instinct and intuition. Yeah, I think, it's a very good question. I think it's something that we're all capable of doing. And if somebody is a light worker or intuitive worker, they're going to find it easier because they're used to the connection. And they're used to severing the connection if it's an uncomfortable one. It is always going to be a lot easier to do if you can physically connect with somebody. You get more like a surge of information as opposed to the gentle trickle of information, I think.
Yeah, and again, that you don't have to be a specialist working with energy to do it. As if, for instance, when I go to Tesco's shopping, I hate shopping at Tesco, so I'll give myself little things and stuff to motivate me to go around, like a box of Cadbury's fingers as a reward for doing the shopping. But also, people tend to be in their own little world. So if somebody seems a little bit stressed out and then they suddenly look up because I've got to move out their way, or I will purposely smile underneath my mask so my eyes look happier as well. Just to break that energy that they've got going. And that's a purely physical one that you can see in that person.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I find that quite rewarding.
I've done that in a lot of different settings, not just in the supermarket.
Or I'll say something a little bit funny off the quick.
Yeah, I can feel the tension in someone. And in women, when you feel tension, it's quite easy. So things like, oh, that's a beautiful jacket. Or, oh, that perfume you got on smells lovely, and then just walk away. And it's just enough to change their energy and their... Yeah,
the energy thing doesn't have to be something spiritual. It's fairly easy to see.
But if it's reading particular information, if that's what you're asking about, to a point, yes, you can read information from a person, not just how they're feeling, not just sensing of the energy. I'd
probably need to linger around them fairly closely for about 10 minutes, which is going to look a little creepy. Yeah, that's
going to be a lot creepy. And don't try and touch them. Frotterism's not something you're allowed to just do randomly.
No, but it was something I studied a number of years ago, was energy manipulations, and there's different techniques with different hand positions. So if you sit and you imagine your energy's there, you put your fingers like that and then just aim where you want that energy to go. And you just create your own little focal point as to where I'm going to send this energy. But if it's somebody that's not there, you send it and then visualize where they are. So practice it. Send some information or the energy to somebody. It doesn't matter if you've spoke to them regularly or not, but send to them and just see whether they call you. Or the next time they speak to you, they go, oh, I was thinking about you the other day. I do it to Penny all the time.
Super focused on energy.
Every time, as soon as Penny's driving home, I'll be thinking about things like what we might be doing for dinner, or if I fancy a takeaway or something like that. And I'll start to prime the information being sent to Penny. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Most of the time it does.
It does. It's pretty good. Do you fancy McDonald's? I have actually for ages. That's funny.
Do you want to go and get a Chinese on the way home?
Oh,
that kind of thing.
That was the best one.
Yeah. So, yeah, you can read from somebody. You don't necessarily have to know them or touch them or be particularly close to them. You can read them.
Our friend Nick has lost me in his comments.
Okay, I haven't got my glasses, so you'll have to put them up big.
I often think which way I'm vetting it before I put it up because I know what Nick's like. I often think which way should the horn be facing in all areas of love. When did we mention a horn?
I don't know if we did.
Pop it look briefly, just that little bit. And then if I do that in the car when I'm driving, so I'm not sure. It might be the intuition thing, because occasionally I will dry. Nick stopped by, but he's got to go. All right, thanks for dropping in, Nick.
dropping in, Nick.
So yeah, if you guys get any more questions,
it's about the unicorn cards.
Yeah, we have to look into that. Unicorn, there's unicorn everything. Unicorn yogurt. It's not really unicorn, is it?
It's not something I'm drawn to.
No.
Do I think the potential of a unicorn was real originally? Yes, I do. We've had this conversation.
Yeah, we have had this conversation.
We did a whole talk on mythical creatures. And do I believe that the potential of them is real? Yes, I absolutely do. Anyway, so we're looking at expectations of first encounters with readers and practitioners.
People are always nervous, and I get that they're nervous because they're never 100% certain exactly what information is going to come out. But there is a way of managing that. Have a good question. Think about the question before you go there. Think about what you want out of the reading. Just don't overcomplicate it by going, oh, well, I want a message from these people, and these people. No, you don't need all of that. All you need is a little bit of confirmation that things are going right here, or confirmation that things are going to get better, or directional stuff. And I think sometimes people are looking for an actual quote from the gods of tarot.
Now we're looking more there about mediumship. Going to see a medium or a psychic or somebody who does spiritual connections, which is something completely different. So I am lucky that when I do readings, I can get assistance from, I don't know who it is because I'm not aware that I have a spirit guide. But somebody is feeding me the information.
It's not called Sam, is it?
It's not Sam.
It's not Sam.
But if you are going to somebody specific, and that's why I've never called myself a medium, because my link isn't a guided link, one person connection that I can zone in and reach out to somebody. If that happens, it's because I'm open. Let's look at mediums. Okay. So
I have regarded myself as a medium. I have used that term in the past.
Okay. Well, everybody's different. It's not something I'm comfortable with because I do get information, but the way I get it isn't fluid, it isn't regular, and it starts off quite gentle in that I get the snapshot first in my head, like the old-fashioned Kodak cameras, and then I get the feeling first, the emotion first, emotional connection, then I get the picture, then I get the sound, and then if it's a really good connection, then I'll get a physical manifestation. It depends where I am. It depends if I'm allowed that opportunity to do that connection, because sometimes you're not. Sometimes it's if you're part of an investigative team, you might have to move on to a different part of the location, or you might be a bit time bound, and it can be quite a slow process. So with mediums, if you're going to see a medium, what I would say to you is don't go with the thought in your head, I want to connect with one person. Because when you do that, that closes you down to all other connections that could potentially come through to you. You might only want to have one connection, but that connection, they might not be strong enough to come through. They might need assistance from others who have passed over. They might not be able to. I think the best thing I ever heard about that was somebody went to have readings and they had just lost their mum, and they went and asked, well, they went with the intention, I want them to come through, and she didn't. So she said, why didn't she come through? She's obviously recently passed over, so she's fresh. But it doesn't work like that. And the right thing that was said was, consider it that they've gone on holiday. She's gone on holiday. She's still sitting in the departure lounge. She's not ready to go on to her next destination or to return for a bit of a chat. She's sitting in the departure lounge waiting.
She's getting her book, handbook for the recently deceased.
She's getting her own book.
I got one of them.
That's it. And getting her sweets and magazines for the plane, which I think is actually quite a good representation. But if you go in with the mindset of, I only want this one connection, it closes so many lines of communication. You're less likely to have that one. Some people take items that belonged to the person that they want to connect with. That doesn't always work either. Again, you're shutting down the connection with the medium, because your only focus is say what it is that I've got in my pocket. And you stop looking and listening to all the other connections. That becomes the only thing, and it shuts you down to so much of the experience. Same with the tarot. If you're going, I want it to be wrong, I'm not going to help them. I'm not going to say yes or no. I'm just going to stare at them blankly and not respond to anything.
Oh, I'm not keen on reading cards for anybody
down.
that's been coerced into it.
No.
So if they're with a group of people and it's, oh, go on, you have yours done. I'm really not up for that. I'm not interested in reading their cards, because it cheapens the fact that it's my craft. You don't want to have a go. Don't have a go.
I kind of get that, but some people, if they don't know about it a lot, might feel uncomfortable with the experience.
Question from Adrian: have you ever been overwhelmed by a connection to a client?
You?
Yes, I have spoke about it on one of these. That lady I went to see when I was supposed to solder some windows.
Right. Okay.
I ended up giving her that message from a dead fella.
But
I had to sit in the car after that and really fucking get my head back in the game, because I, one, had to explain to myself what's just happened, and two, explain to my boss why I'd not sold any windows, because there was no sale at the end of it.
I've been overwhelmed, but in quite a different way. And
not a surprise, eh?
Inappropriately, probably, is that if I've got other intuitive people around me, it's going to sound like I'm stealing their energy. I'm not. I use them as aerials, which used to happen a lot when I used to go with my friend, and we could get really good connections because we connected ourselves, and it kind of enhanced the connections that we were trying to make. And I've done it with you as well. Used you as an aerial.
Oh, I'm hyperactive. If there's spiritual energy about, I buzz, I feed and just buzz off of it. And
if I've done a reading for somebody and they are intuitive and have the ability, that they're sensitive, but they're not necessarily aware of it, that connection can be so super strong. It opens all lines of communication, and I'm the only one that has control, because they don't even know that they're sensitive. So they have had no training or practice on how to close down to protect themselves, and when to sever connections. So they're just like this radio that's
Constantly on full blast.
Constantly on full blast.
But tuned
with
into every station.
Yeah, and everybody's feeding through them because they can. It's an open door. And then I have to battle, so that can be overwhelming, if that makes sense.
The only other time I've just thought of was one of the few, because I only did a few kind of like traveling around home reading sort of things, like parties, and I was doing a tarot reading for a lady, and the cards, because at the time, the same as now, I can start with cards, or I can end up with somebody stepping forward and it becomes nothing to do with the cards. Then it just becomes about a mediumship reading, and that's what happened with this lady. And all I kept getting was images of this old bloke holding this baby in one arm and a kid in the other, holding these two kids like this. And I explained that to her. She immediately burst out into tears because she'd lost her kid a couple of weeks ago, or a month ago, something like that. And as a bloke, sort of mid-20s, I didn't know what to do at this point. I just delivered information as it had been passed to me.
You didn't have the experience of how to deliver that.
I wasn't sort of going, I wasn't being horrible about it. It's just my delivery. I hadn't comprehended that this child could have literally just passed.
Yeah. And
that kind of, again, you got to kind of save face until you get outside, and then you got to go, right, I need to get my head back together now, because that's one hell of a connection. When you connect with young energy that's gone like that, but still hangs around and can grow and develop and has a higher, greater thing to do, it's quite tricky, because you've got to try and justify that to somebody who misses them intently.
And if that's somebody that you haven't met before, that's quite an uncomfortable situation to spend time in.
Well, yeah, because that was the only thing that came out in her reading.
But if you'd done regular readings, it would have been something that you could have had a more comfortable conversation with, because you develop relationships with the people that you read regularly for.
Yeah, I mean, it was a party reading. So for me, I used to go with the mindset it was a party reading. They want all that shock and awe to an extent. So you kind of just go in all guns blazing and go, whatever information comes out. But in that instance, because it was presented to me in such a nice way, if it had been a small, like, I've had images of like child's urns or child gravestones and things like that, where it gives you that image straight away, you kind of go, all right, okay.
I can't say that.
Yeah, I know I'm dealing with a child that's just passed, but it was just this old boy holding a kid, and it was just done as such a nice. It could have been like a photograph. He gave me no idea that the child
was quite young and inexperienced in sharing that kind of information.
Yeah, I mean, she wasn't upset because I'd upset her. She was upset because the information it was that sort of thing. So,
okay, we've got loads of comments.
Oh my God, what's going on?
Put some effort in.
Right, Rosie's just being hoggy because.
Hi, Rose.
Because she just put a comment like. One lines.
I don't know if anybody else is finding us lagging.
Oh, we're lagging,
or whether it's your connection, Rose. We'll see.
I did say at the beginning we've got a weird lag.
Okay, let's see how we go. Okay, what else have we got? Other comments. It's nice to see you, Rose.
Leah. How do you close off empathy? Empathy is a great thing to have, but it can easily overwhelm in certain situations. Are you able to stop that connection to others' emotions?
Yes, but it takes years and years to be able to do it, to be able to separate your emotions from somebody else's and to not feel what they're feeling.
Yeah.
Yes, you absolutely can. It's something that you have to learn.
I want to pick a little bit at it, though, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Can you explain the difference between empathy and an empath?
Okay, so empathy is if you, for example, if you see, I see what you're saying. If you see somebody fall, that you feel a connection. If I watch stupid videos with you of people falling over and stuff, it makes me feel physically unwell.
Makes me chuckle.
My legs get this weird pins and needles rush, and it makes me feel sick. It's like I've physically felt what they felt.
Yeah.
That's an empathy thing. The feeling a sympathetic connection to somebody.
Yeah.
And then being empathic is more like you can feel their emotions as a separate entity to your own. They're two separate things. So I can, and it's took a long time to do it. I've done
About
it
20
before when you're an idiot. When I've gone to a place that's full of people and I've just gone, let's see how this goes. I'm going to open. And it's like opening my head wide to what everybody is thinking and feeling. And that can be quite overwhelming and takes a long time to practice, or to be able to focus, to cut out everybody else and focus on one person in 100 and have that empathic link with them.
Yeah, I think we are getting a couple of comments on here saying it's not lagging, it's fine. So sorry if it is lagging on
Rose,
yours.
it might be you, lovely.
It sounds like a you problem.
Oh, that's a horrible thing to say.
Sorry. No, kind of the point I wanted to sort of get is that term empathy.
Yeah.
And an empath. It's become quite a modern term now to sort of these, because when I went out on the ghost hunt, people referred to themselves as sensitives and empaths.
Yeah.
When I was in my 20s, I was a medium or a tarot reader. Psychic.
Everybody is sensitive. Everybody is an empath, but to different degrees. I've always described myself as an empath, and I've been a lifelong empath, and that's from the connections that I have with spirit started when I was very, very small. And it is, the first connection is an emotional one. So
with Leah's question then.
Yeah.
So going back to that, so how do you close off?
It's too hard to describe. It's the easiest way to describe it. It's like the opening and shutting of a door in my head, but it isn't just in my head. That's why it's quite hard to describe.
Yeah, I get it. I just wanted to know if you could describe it.
It takes a lot of work and a lot of practice, and you mess it up quite a lot.
Well, that's the thing. Grounding is. I mean, when we spoke last week, I was going to say about my grounding routine, but it's kind of personal to me.
It is personal
because it's different things from different situations that I've learned. I thought, I like that bit.
It's practicing.
So I just poach bits for myself.
Or getting a mentor.
Yeah.
It used to be, in the old days, there used to be development circles. This essentially is our foray into a development circle. It's a discovery circle. So it's right now, and since we started, this is week 26?
27.
27. And it was more about, let's engage with people out there and explain the different concepts and things like that, and share the information first with the intention of then moving forward in a more physical space to mentor, to spend time practicing techniques. We can always learn too. I always think that every opportunity is an opportunity to learn. I by no means know all there is to know, but I'll share what I know quite happily.
That's the beauty of this. It's sharing of information is the whole point.
Okay, so has anybody gone to see to have a tarot reading or to have a specific connection with a medium? And what was your experience of that? Did you enjoy it? Were you so focused on, I must have this connection, that it took the enjoyment away?
That was the other thing I was going to mention earlier, is when you're going in, if you're nervous, what are you nervous about?
Because you don't know what's going to be said. It's the unknown. You don't know what's going to be said and what's.
But it makes it feel like they're turning up like a job interview. Their
Yeah, I
energy
get
puts
that.
me under pressure to prove. It's just a very weird scenario as a person when you're sat there kind of ready to read energy and you got somebody coming in who in the back of their mind wants to validate that what you're telling them is true, which they've got no real way of knowing. So yeah, sometimes it's just that sort of things, their energy as they walk in.
Moving a little bit away from that, with Reiki, there's so much information out there on the internet. If you come to me for a Reiki treatment, the first thing I've done is made sure that the process is on our website so people can read that and they know. The amount of people that come and say, do I have to take my clothes off? Will anybody else be in the room? What's going to happen?
That's a private web chat we're setting up.
Will you be touching me? How is this? And the nervousness of that and the trying to relax into what is happening takes so long that it's over before they've really engaged with it, because they're questioning everything. Should I be doing this? Am I allowed to talk? Am I allowed to move? All of those things. And then actually what they enjoy is the second session, because now they know what to expect. That's quite difficult, because if somebody comes and then they don't get out of it what they hoped they would, and they're actually the reason why they didn't get that experience, they might never try again.
Well, yeah, I was nervous when I came to you for my first Reiki session, because the previous Reiki session person had told me I should never have Reiki again.
That's because they were an idiot.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Some people.
But then you were so relaxed the second time you fell asleep, because you pretended you didn't.
It was a waking snore.
It was one of them.
It was a fly.
Yeah, you're relaxed then. Okay.
The other thing I'd say is if you go into a Reiki session, wash your hands, your face, brush your teeth. Not from a perspective
Are you trying to say I was smelly when you came?
No, what I'm trying to say is it's not from a perspective of as hygiene as such, but as you're washing the day off kind of thing. It's a bit of a cleansing process before you go in for your Reiki session.
And the practitioner does that too. Yeah. And you're in somebody's personal space, so you should. It's just good manners. Although I have to say, my lovely Reiki teacher, the original one, when she used to give when she gave the attunements, she was quite windy. So it was quite a smelly room. And she said whenever she gave Reiki or passed on the attunements, that it affected her digestive system. And it absolutely did.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm glad that I didn't develop that. So what have we got?
Okay, so we've got a comment from Adrian. I went to see a medium with my mother and aunt. I was last in. The medium was overwhelmed by my presence. She said that she was being bombarded by spirits wanting to connect to me. Wow. It
was her responsibility then to
set up some sort of ticketing system,
kind
like
of
Sainsbury's old deli thing, kind of give them a number,
or maybe say there are many people that you've that have come with you and come to talk to you. Is there a particular person, and we can see if they're amongst this group and make the connection, put you more in control of it. Because again, sometimes it can be about people that are connected to you, and sometimes it can be about there's an open door, guys, come on, let's all get through it, and might not actually be connected to you at all.
So candle in the dark.
Down to the medium to make that more appropriate.
Yeah, I don't want to be disrespectful or unprofessional, but yeah, I wouldn't have said that. If people turn up and they go, "Ooh, wow, you got a lot of people hang around you," you can tell there's an amount of number there, but you're only really going to talk to the body. In my head, as far as I'm concerned, I'm only going to talk to the person that pushes their way to the forward with the right piece of information that I'm looking for, if you get my logic. So although there's no ticketing system, I'm searching for an answer to a question, or there's a card come out that relates. So I'm only going to end up talking to the person in my head.
And I wouldn't want to
That's
terrify
relevant.
you either, because I think that's quite terrifying. By the way, you're surrounded by quite a lot of dead people.
I see dead people.
Yeah.
Not the ones from
Careful.
Game of Thrones.
Careful on your journey home. It's a little bit concerning. I don't think I perhaps would have phrased it that way. But did you get something out of it? Did you
did
get
any of them come
a
forward?
good contact, good information, something that validated that person's comment that you had lots of people? Was it a good experience? What's the other comment? The one above.
And Leah's comment, I've got you can read that one.
Oh, I can barely.
You haven't got your
I haven't
glasses on. The reading really surprised me because I was expecting a similar reading to what I've had before. That wasn't the case. Oh, so do you think the same cards are going to come out? Sort of, yeah, no.
And everybody reads differently as well.
I read like a lunatic. I don't know. I couldn't teach somebody to read the way I read because I just read intuitively.
I have a formal process. So I tend to work on the 4 sections of family, health, love, career. So I do 4, and then I expand on each one, and I draw for as many cards as information is coming through, because information comes through at the same time. Then I will stay on a particular subject, giving information for as long as that information makes sense, and then I'll move on to the next, and then I will just do some if I feel pulled to pull more cards that aren't necessarily related to that and are more related to individual things that are coming through to me, then I'll share that information that way. But I don't do and these are the houses, and I don't do that formal. I
woke up in the morning, didn't I, and ended up, because I've got like a notebook that I use in the morning, because I wake up in the morning sometimes and my brain just goes, oh, got an idea, and I just have to write stuff down. And I was designing my own reading, but one that could be done remotely.
Okay.
So that it was a little bit more.
We've done readings through here before.
Yeah, but it's more the kind of, if you imagine there's sort of, as you see the image, there's just sort of 2 or 3 cards there, and it's what card you're drawn to. But I don't want it to be an A, B, or a C, or a 1, 2, or 3. There's going to be some symbols I'm going to design as well. So you'll be drawn to a symbol as well.
Here's the thing. Can you do it? We've had this conversation before. People that you know.
Yes.
And how much do they trust the information that you are seeing in the cards and delivering? And how much do you think that it is questioned because you have background knowledge?
I would say 50-50. I don't tend, when you do tarot cards for family and friends, you have to kind of it's just a family friend card reading.
What do you mean?
In my head, it's just a family and friends card reading. So I don't really, to be honest, take it massively serious.
I take every reading seriously.
I do, and I no, because certain information I'm already going to know, certain bits of advice I'm going to have my own preconceived ideas about because I'm related or I know the person that's involved. Okay. So I know the situation. So a lot of times I'll discourage family and friends from having a reading from me, or I'll do an arrogant reading and just use a deck of cards and flip it the other way completely.
But the information you're giving from the cards. You're not giving from background knowledge. It's from what you are seeing and feeling from the cards in front of you.
Yes, and that is a really simple process when you don't know the person that's sat in front of you. But when you do, I struggle to then remember, did they tell me that a couple of months ago? Did they tell me that a week ago?
Yeah, but that's the point. You don't question it. When you work intuitively, stop questioning that.
I just don't like reading cards for people I know.
Read the cards as they come.
We have got another question.
Okay.
It's from our #1 fan. I was told I'm an animal whisperer, but I really haven't got a clue what that means. I definitely have a connection with animals, more so than people. But what? So then people, you guys know. I don't know much about the animal whispery side of things, the kind of Dr. Dolittle-y bits.
I don't, but I have certainly been in situations where, and it's happened twice, definitely. Once in my previous job when I went to somebody's house and they had 2 gigantic dogs, and I walked in and the dogs waited. I sat and then they sat either side of me and just stayed there the whole time, which surprised the owner. He said they never do things like that, and I don't understand why they're guarding you and glaring at all of us. And it's something I'd kind of experienced before, but not to that level. And then when I went to do somebody's reading a few months ago, the same thing happened with her dogs, that they came to guard me and were around me. But it's not anything that I intentionally focus on.
Isn't that what the dogs did round Damien? I'm sure they were his familiars that protected him. Just saying. Yeah,
I don't know enough about it.
I haven't done an awful lot of research on the animal spiritual side of things. Years ago, I connected with an animal guide, which I've always vehemently said that is my animal guide, which is my little stoat.
Oh yeah, you've said that before.
And it just scuttles around all over the place, and I'm fairly certain it just checks things out for me. So it doesn't need to be a big bear or a fancy wolf, or when people go, I've got an animal guide. It's an eagle. It's like,
I think you kind of got to be careful as well of what you tell people, and genuine readers won't do it with the shock and awe tactics of this will impress you or this will distract you while I give you your reading, because you'll actually forget everything that I've said other than that.
Yeah.
That will become your only focus and you'll think I'm amazing because of that. That to me would smack of how true and honest was that particular person doing the reading.
The more tricky readings, well, they're not the more tricky ones, but they're the ones I find the most interesting on my life coaching readings, because those are, although the information is spirit and it's the information is coming from that side, we've got to apply it to the here and now, because the life coaching is about making sure I'm happy in my job, in my home, in my house, in my family, in my own skin. And you can't do that when it's just getting messages from Aunt Dot. It's not what it's about. Tarot life coaching then changes the process again, so that the information receiving is useful,
beneficial to help you move forward. Yeah. Okay. We kind of veered off topic now. Yeah, see, that's the kind of shock and awe thing that I meant.
Oh, don't know why you come to me. You're very spiritual.
Yeah. that to me says funfair psychic.
Yeah.
Or seaside psychic.
Let me read your palm. There you go. You got a swimming pool in your future.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, there is certain lines that I don't like to hear. If I can help it.
I would question somebody that used those kind of comments, because that's completely distracted you from anything else that they say.
It's like a massive compliment.
Yeah. So you're so busy analysing that. Well, what am I then? What can I do? What abilities do I have? Do my family know about this? But while you're having those conversations, they're doing your reading. You're not taking any notice at all. Yeah.
Be confident in who you are. You're going to them for a reading in the same way that if you went to somebody at the EE store to help you figure out how to program your phone or install an app, there's a beginning, a middle, and an end, and you should feel that you've received something personal and individual to you that time.
Yeah.
I'm on my soapbox. Don't want to get off it now.
We'll try.
I've run out of coffee now.
Because we've kind of veered off topic about how do you feel when you go for a new treatment or reading and you go to do something differently? Because I always, when I've gone to other people for readings, I've gone with the open mind. I'll just listen. If I feel like something isn't relevant, I won't dismiss it that they've said, but I also won't try to force it to fit a circumstance. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I
don't go with the question.
A new experience for some people may never have been to spiritualist church, and I used to go every week. So you would see a different medium every week doing connection, and you would have the ones that were very vague. And I've got a John, or like spirits really secretive. Somebody beginning with J.
I've got somebody that they're just not stepping forward. Just step forward a little bit further. No, they're stepping back. I'm sorry, I'm going to leave their love with you there.
That's absolutely true. But I have.
That's like 10 years ago, Colin Fry. It's like, I want a headbutt.
But I have said I need you to come forward more to get the connection. But that's more about me not being open enough to receive it, I think. Or that I need to turn the radio up a little bit more so I can connect with them better and hear them better. But yeah, can you just accept that? And that used to happen a lot at spiritualist church, that you would have to accept it, even if you had no idea what they were talking about. And they were the serial acceptors. I've got a Joan here. Anybody know a Joan? Yes, I do, randomly from my childhood. She was in my class in primary school. Yes, I've got that connection. I'll accept that. Somebody that passed that was in a blue car in a collision with a bus. Yeah, I'll accept that one as well. And it's a desperation for connection. So you can be too open and willing to engage, or you can shut down immediately. So I went to have my cards read by somebody years ago, and somebody went with me who had never been before, and they were terrified. That's what you're terrified for. You're going into a room to have a conversation. Don't give too much information about yourself, but just listen. And if it's something that, yes, you agree with it, then say you agree with it. If you don't agree with it, say I don't really agree with it. And I had the most amazing read, shockingly so, and I actually took a dictaphone and recorded it so that I could listen back when I got home. But it was a really good read. And then they went in after me and were so closed off from the fear and of giving too much information that actually they got no information at all, and the person really struggled to read for them, and they were in and out within 2 minutes, because it was like there is not giving too much away, and then there is being completely closed. I can literally tell you what's written on these cards, but because you're giving off the I don't want to connect, you've closed yourself off. I can't give you anything intuitively. I can literally read to you the interpretation of the card, but that's it. I can't connect it to you because you won't let me.
Yeah, I've seen that as well. There's another thing I've seen where if you go to group readings, where there's what I call the targeted closed off person. And I've been this person where I'll be sat there and I'm with a group of people and I'm the one that looks the least
interested,
like I'm going to engage with this.
But actually you're listening.
Yeah, and they'll go, oh, I'm getting stuff around you, but you're so guarded, you're so closed off. And you sort of sit there and go, right, now everybody else is in the room going, oh, and I'm so open, he's going to come to me. And it's the way of working the room. But it's really difficult when you've studied.
That's cold reading, though.
That's what I'm on about.
Not intuitive, sensitive tarot readers. That's people that are they're just cabaret.
I think they're amazing.
Oh, they're amazing.
I think cold readers are absolutely amazing because they can manipulate people with just the same piece of information. To be an actual tarot reader and to try and interpret somebody's old family photograph, which is slightly out of focus, with somebody's name, which is just slightly not quite, and you're like, you just give me that bit more, and that's a completely different ball game.
I saw today on Facebook and somebody's old family photo, and I'm guessing it was them as a child, and I was just intrigued, so I reached out a little to see if I could see any more, and it was clearly them and an old man that I'm guessing was their father, but I reached out and got that it was their father, and actually in the spirit was mum. And she was actually standing behind them, and I thought I'm just going to have a little tentative reach out, because distance readings something that's quite draining, because you have to put a different kind of energy into that connection. But I just did a little feel out to see, and I managed to make a connection. Whether it's true or not, I don't know, because I don't know the person. I just picked a random person off Facebook that I saw an old photo. I kind of flicked and saw a photo and thought, I'm going to see what I get from that. But like I say, everybody and everything is connected by these invisible threads. We are all connected.
Oh, the other
thing is about being able to focus in on the one thread and to follow it to see where it takes you.
The other aspect I was thinking of with tarot readers is if you're drawn to a particular reader and then somebody says to you, oh, I went to them and I don't know, they give you a kind of response. I personally would disregard that because they didn't connect with that person for whatever reason. But if you're drawn to them, that should mean that you're going to get, there's a reason you're being drawn to them.
Yeah, for sure.
Sorry, I just want to crowbar that in. God, we're at the hour, but I want to ask people a favour.
What do you want to ask them?
Well, last week's show, we did something different. Once the live had finished, we took it down off of YouTube, and it's been re-edited and put back up. So now what is going to happen is 24 hours after the live video is done, the video that's on Facebook will go. The one that will remain will be the re-edited one on YouTube, which there'll be a link to it on this page. But last week's show, because I spoke about...
maybe we need to clarify that. We're not going to edit out anything we've said or anything anybody else says.
No,
it's about
no.
putting in additions. So, for example, we talked about orbs. So we added in various pictures of orbs and orbs that were connected to us. So
yeah,
I talked about two particularly clear orbs that were around me when I went out on investigation. And then we added them onto the video so that you could see them when I talked about them. So it's about we're adding more information for you that we don't have to hand during the live.
I also want the videos to feel a bit more interactive when it's not live, because obviously you guys there now can interact with us, but you guys that are there now not watching it live can't. That was a fourth wall break moment, wasn't it?
Yeah, don't do that. It's like looking at the camera when you're
not
supposed to during
my favour is this. Please go to the Wiccan Warriors YouTube channel and watch last week's show. Then, if you don't mind, give me some feedback on what you think. Is that the kind of edit that looked okay? Just give me a little bit of feedback if you think it was all right.
Because we'll just keep information in you.
It's not so much that,
let's make it information that works for you.
It was more
that
video there was 6 hours worth of editing time. It's just whether or not it looks cool.
Or do you care?
Yeah. Also, there's my little 10-minute video about the Hellfire Caves where I did catch an orb, and it is on there in slow-mo, and you can go and watch it and see what you think. It is an orb.
Okay.
It flies in over my shoulder, zips around in front of me, in exactly the same spot as when the air went cold and you could see my breath.
Are you uncomfortable there with that key in your back?
But it's a real orb.
It's been great this evening. I like it when lots of people chat to us and interact.
Yes.
Anna, if you're still there, this is the quietest you've been watching us ever.
It's probably eating.
Feels really strange. We expect more.
But I thank you for joining us, guys.
Yeah,
thank you ever so much.
Absolutely. And are live readings something that you're interested in? Is that something you want to engage with? Because sometimes when we've done them, it's been amazing, and we've been able to do a good few people.
Yeah.
Having a quick read. Some people want it more.
Sometimes I think people don't want it because other people can hear what's being said.
Okay, they want more private. Okay. Tired.
Anna is here, but she's tired and she's been gardening and hungover.
Shocking.
Poor life choices there, Anna.
Oh, we're just jealous because you've clearly got a more fun life than we've got.
Right, let's go. We're an hour and 5 minutes. The longer we keep talking, the more video I've got to edit.
All right, I feel bad for you.
Please go and watch our videos from last week. Like, share, subscribe, and all
Go
that
back and
jazz.
look at the old ones. If there's any subject that we talked about previously, if you want us to go more in depth on it, because these we're kind of keeping things short, so it's not a lecture. But if there's particular topics you want us to go back to, do it. Send us ideas. What do you want us to talk about? Because we will just keep talking about what we want to if you don't interact and let us know. And obviously we've got our shop. You can go and have a look on the wiccanwarriors.co.uk, and we've got the Facebook shop, which will link you through to that website as well. All you gorgeous ladies out there, why have you not bought goddesses yet? They are available, pocket goddesses. Go and read more.
You're my pocket goddess. You're like a woman, but smaller.
Rounder.
Shut up. Right, I want to go.
All right. Thank you for listening to us, as always, and especially those that interacted with us. Good night.
Bye.